At the beginning of the story, we see a boy holding a bowl that contains some food. The boy was thankful that he was able to get a lot of things to eat. The boy said that the only reason he is able to get this amount of food is because there is an ongoing fair in the town. After looking at the food he acquired, the boy decided to search for a place he can spend the night in. This boy's name is Peul. He is 14 years old. He is an orphan who drifts around the land aimlessly. He does not have any foundation or residence. While walking around the town, Peul bumps into a man who is oddly dressed. Peul tried to move away from the man, but the man stood in his front. He asked the man for his identity. The man smiled. The scene shifts and we see Peul in a dark place. Peul did not understand what was going on. He was certain that his eyes were open and he has not gone blind. He realized that he was in a pitch-black place without a single ray of light. He did not recognize his current location. While trying to understand his current situation, Peul feels a large amount of pain in his body. He quickly realized that he could not move an inch and he could not muster any strength. He became hopeless and began to cry. He did not understand why he was in such a predicament. While crying, he remembered the mysterious man he bumped into in the town. When the man smiled at Peul, the man told him that he looks useful. After remembering what the man said to him, Peul became certain that the man was the one who kidnapped him and threw him into this dark place. He did not understand why the man would trap him in this place. He did not remember earning any grudges from the man or anyone else. Due to the fact that the man did not kill him after capturing him, he became certain that the man must have some sort of goal that he wants to achieve. After a while, Peul began to recite his personal information. He called out his name, his age, his father's name, and his mother's name. No matter how many times Peul recited his personal information, he could not take his mind off the fact that the room is very dark. He could not even tell if he was slowly losing consciousness or he has been awake the whole time. He did not know how much time had passed in this dark place. He began to cry when he became hopeless. He said that he is scared and lonely. When he became calm, he continued to remind himself of his identity to remain sane. Unfortunately for him, he did not know how long he would have to continue this action. After a while, he became hungry. Since there was no food in this place, he realized that he might die out of starvation. Now Peul has two choices. Either he dies from starvation or he goes insane from being in the dark for too long. He was very confused with his situation. He did not understand if the mysterious man wanted him to starve to death. As the darkness slowly got to him, he wondered about what he had done to deserve such a horrible punishment. He remembered that he did not beg the mysterious man for anything, so he did not understand why the man would throw him into this place. With tears in his eyes, he said that even if he is a beggar with nothing to his name, he does not deserve to be thrown into this hellish place. While he was crying, Peul feels a sensation in his hand. He raised his hand up and realized that he is able to move his hand. With a smile on his bloody lips, he realized that he can now breathe a lot easier. He was very happy to find out that his bodily senses were slowly returning to him. He used his nose to sniff the area. The place had a damp smell. He used his leg and hand to touch the ground. He immediately realized that he is underground. While feeling the area, he hears the sound of water drops. He was very happy to hear this sound because he was extremely thirsty. He did his best to move his body towards the direction of the water drops, but his body was in immense pain. Nevertheless, he did not give up. He put his legs together and began to crawl towards the sound of the water drops. After moving for a while, he stops to catch his breath. He was ready to give up, but his mind would not allow him to. He grit his teeth and told himself that he has to survive. While saying this to himself, he pushed his frail body towards the water drops. After moving for a while, he hit a stone wall. On the wall, he finds a small stream of water. He carefully drinks the water he finds. He placed his hands on the wall and realized that it was rock solid. While feeling the wall, he accidentally cut his finger. He screamed in pain. He put his hand in his mouth to reduce the pain from the cut. He gives up on drinking the water and decided to lie on the floor. While he was on the floor, an unexpected guest came to meet him. Peul was shocked to see his guest because it turns out to be his conscience. Peul's conscience asked him why he is trying so hard to survive. Peul was shocked to hear this question. His conscience told him to stop wasting his time. It asked Peul about what is so great in his worthless life that he is struggling so much. With a creepy look on its face, it told Peul to give up. It told Peul that he will be at peace if he gives up. Peul asked his conscience if he will really be at peace after he gives up. His conscience was shocked to hear this question. Peul told it that he does not believe that he will be at peace after he gives up. He told his conscience that he is going to survive. His conscience told him that he is wasting his time. Pyo told his conscience that he won't be at peace if he dies like this. He told his conscience that if he dies without stabbing the people who trapped him here, he won't be able to close his eyes even after death, with a look of determination on his face. He said that he is going to survive until the bitter end and get his revenge on the people who made him suffer. His conscience asked him if he is really going to take revenge. Pyo said that he will. His conscience asked him if he will not give up. Pyo said that he will never give up. His conscience was very happy to hear this. He smiled and left Pyo. When Pyo woke up, he realized that he was still in this dark place and he cannot see anything. He wondered if the conversation he had with his conscience was a dream or he has finally gone insane. He pushed his tired body up with the goal of surviving. He moves to the area where he found the water drops and sees some moss that grew around area the water was dropping. He did not know if the mosses were edible, but he had no choice but to eat it. He puts the moss in his mouth with the notion that he has to eat to survive. The moss tasted horrible. He could not believe that something could taste so bad. After swallowing the moss, he realized that his body was still fine. He came to the conclusion that the moss is edible. He began to consume more mosses. While eating the moss, he reminds himself that he has to survive. After eating a lot of mosses and regaining a small amount of his strength, he decided to walk round the place he was trapped in. After walking round the underground room, he was able to deduce that the room he is in is 9 square meters. Thanks to the size of the room, Pyo was able to confirm that someone actually trapped him here. While looking around his cell, he hears an odd sound. He immediately realized that only iron can produce such a sound. He sees an iron door opening. The light that came from the iron door was blinding to someone like Pyo who had spent a lot of time in darkness. He mustered his strength and walked towards the iron door. He called out for the person that was on the other side of the door, but no one answered. As Pyo got closer to the iron door, he sees a hand holding a bowl. The hand dropped the bowl and the iron door was locked again. Pyo began to cry when he saw this. He felt like his hopes were crushed. While he was crying, he smells the scent of something inside the cell. He immediately realized that he was smelling some food. When he looked down, he realized that there was food in the bowl that was left in his room. Unfortunately for him, the food that was inside the bowl were rotten fish, tea leaves, and pork which were leftovers, although Pyo was not able to see the food inside the bowl. Thanks to the smell of the food, he was able to tell that the food was a combination of at least 5 different kinds of leftovers. It did not make sense to Pyo that his kidnappers would prepare 5 different kinds of food for him. He deduced that he must not be the only one who is trapped in this place. He believed that there is at least 5 or more people who were trapped him in this place for a specific purpose. He became certain that he was not the only one trapped here because it will be highly inefficient for his kidnappers to create this space to imprison only him. He realized that there is at least 5 people who are managing this place, and there is more than 5 people who were trapped here with him. While he understood that he was not the only one trapped here, he could not comprehend what his kidnappers' goals were. He moved the bowl of food close to his nose to get a better understanding of the food. When he sniffed the food, he realized that such a dish is only cooked in Sichuan. He decided to think about his situation once he is done eating. He began to devour the food. While the food was not very good, it was much better than the moss. In the next scene, we see Pyo working out in his prison. He contemplates on how he has been trapped in this place for 4 months. Fortunately for him, food is given to him by his kidnappers through the small door once a day. Every time his kidnappers bring him some food, Pyo always dashes towards the door to scream and question his kidnappers. Unfortunately for him, the kidnappers never say a word to him. Instead, they continue to imprison him in this narrow and dark space. While working out, Pyo loses his balance and falls. While on the floor, he says that he thought he was going to go insane from being put in such a dark place. He says that he has not been wasting his time in this place. Now he is able to see his surroundings a little. His eyes are slowly adapting to this pitch-black environment. He says that he can see things moving in this underground prison. Most of the things inside the room with him were centipedes. Pyo was surprised to see so many insects in one place. While he was looking at the centipedes, something stares at him in the darkness. Unfortunately for Pyo, this thing happens to be a white snake. The snake slowly wrapped itself around Pyo's hand. Pyo immediately felt something odd with his hand. When he turned around to see what caused the odd sensation, he did not see anything because his eyes had not fully adapted to the darkness. The moment Pyo turned around, the snake bit his hand. Pyo immediately began to scream. His entire body felt as if it was on fire. Pyo could not comprehend what was happening to him. He immediately realized that a snake's venom has entered his bloodstream. Unfortunately for him, this realization did not change his pain. He continued to shout in anguish. After some time, he lost consciousness. While he was unconscious, the kidnappers came to deliver food to him. Immediately the kidnapper left. Peul woke up and grabbed the bowl of food in pain. His body had not yet overcome the venom, so his breathing was heavy. While shaking in pain, Peul assures himself that he will not die no matter what happens to him. He began to eat out of the bowl while he was on the floor. The white snake carefully looked at Peul from the darkness as he ate. Some days later, Peul is now able to see the white snake clearly. He could not believe that he almost died thanks to the venom of the snake. He noticed that his body had gone through a change during the detoxification process. He realized that he can see his environment much clearer now. He was very fascinated with the sudden change in his body. He wondered if the change really occurred thanks to the snake. He reached his hand out to touch the snake. The snake got into a defensive position when it saw Peul's hand. Peul remembered that he had heard stories of people becoming stronger after they survived being poisoned. Peul is certain that if he can gain resistance to poison, he will gain a new weapon. The snake bit Peul's hand when it saw that Peul got too close to it. Peul was in pain as the venom was circulating through his veins. He instantly regrets his decision as he wonders if he should have not allowed himself to be bitten or if he should have been more careful. His entire body felt as if it was on fire. He grit his teeth and said that the pain he is experiencing is not as bad as the first time he was bitten. He smiles like a mad person when he thinks of how much stronger he will become. The eyes of the white snake has degenerated due to the darkness, but it is still an exceptional hunter. It stealthily approaches its prey, and sometimes it incapacitates its prey using sound. Even though the snake was powerful, it was not greedy. After it finishes its meal, it does not make the mistake of chasing other insects away by intimidating them. After seeing the lifestyle of the white snake, Peul became certain that he and the snake are the only intelligent creatures in the prison. One day, while Peul is sitting down and observing the snake, he hears a loud sound in his prison. He stood up and felt a huge vibration in his cave. Peul realized that only one thing can cause this level of vibration in his prison. He looked at the door and was surprised to see that it was open. Peul stepped out of his room and found a long hallway in the underground space. He walked up to the room next to his. When he got to the door of the next room, he realized that the rooms were 20 steps away from each other. He finally understood why he could not sense the presence of others from his room. He opened the door to the room. When he opened the iron door, he could smell something strange. Peul realized that only one thing can create such a foul smell. This is the smell of rotting flesh. Peul found a dead body in the room. While Peul did not know anything about the dead person, he was certain that the person is around the same age as him thanks to the person's build. He wondered if the people in the other room are also dead. Peul returned back to the hallway and walked to the end of it. When Peul arrived at the end of the hallway, he found a huge iron door there. Peul placed his hand on the door and realized that the bolts in the door have been removed in order for it to be easily opened. He opened the door and stepped into another hallway. In the other hallway, Peul found 2 living people. He was very surprised to see people who were alive and well. Peul met a boy and a girl in this new hallway. He got his emotions together and walked towards the boy and girl. The boy and the girl were startled when they heard the footsteps of someone in the room with them. Peul decided to check out this new hallway. All he finds are dead children and rotting flesh. The girl asked Peul for his identity. She asked him about which room he came from. She told him that she and the boy are the only survivors in this place. Peul immediately realized that the girl was looking at his direction, but she could not see him. He realized that he was the only one who has fully adapted to the darkness. He introduced himself to the girl and told her that he was trapped in the adjacent sector. The girl was surprised to hear this. She asked Peul if there are more places like this hallway. Peul told her that there is. He asked the girl and the boy for their names. The girl told Peul that her name is So Yoel and the boy's name is Song Cheonwoo. After hearing their names, Peul told them to move. Yoel asked Peul about where they should move to. Peul told her that there are probably more places like this hallway. When they arrived at the end of the hallway, they found a huge iron door that led to another hallway. Yoel and Cheonwoo were surprised to see this. When they stepped into the new hallway, Peul asked them to follow him. Yoel and Cheonwoo were surprised by the fact that Peul did not seem shocked about their current situation. Yoel asked Cheonwoo to hold her hands so that they do not get separated in the darkness. In the new hallway, Peul and his group found another group of children. While Yoel and Cheonwoo were interacting with the new children, Peul decided to check the rooms in the hallway. Pyo noticed that the children in this hallway did not starve to death. Instead, the children committed suicide. Pyo noticed that there are more bowls of food here than his own hallway. He wondered if the kidnappers were discriminating among children. He could not comprehend why they would do such a thing. While he was thinking, Yoel calls out his name. She tells him that the children in this sector were also trapped around the same time as them. She began to introduce Pyo to the other children. Pyo and the other children walked through the dark underground cave and arrived at another iron door. When Pyo opened the iron door, a bright light shined on him and the other children. Thanks to the fact that the children had been in darkness for a long time, the bright light was very blinding and painful for them to see. While shaking in pain from the light he saw, Pyo wondered if they had arrived to the outside world. He knew that it would be impossible for that to happen anytime soon. He was certain that they were still underground. After his eyes had adapted to his new environment a little, Pyo noticed that the light that he and the other children saw came from a torch. He realized that they have been in this underground prison for so long that the light from a torch is blinding them. While the other children were struggling to see anything, Pyo's eyes had already adapted to his new environment. Pyo saw something extremely shocking when his eyes became stable. He saw a huge mansion in this underground cave. After the eyes of the other children had adapted to the new environment, Pyo and the other children decided to head into the mansion. After looking around the mansion, the children were surprised that there was no one there. Pyo noticed that the structure of the mansion is flimsy and not very good. He deduces that the mansion was made in a hurry. He could tell that the mansion was made for appearances and its interiors are poorly made. He could not understand why his kidnappers would make such a mansion. While he was looking around the mansion, a girl walks up to him. The girl told Pyo that her name is Li Min. Pyo did not understand what was going on. He did not know why the girl introduced herself to him. Li Min moved close to Pyo and asked him if his eyes have always been like that. Pyo told her that he does not understand what she means. Li Min told him that his pupils are red. She told him that they are very beautiful. When Pyo heard that his pupils are red, he immediately realized that it might have been caused by the white snake. He was very worried to hear that his pupils are red because he knew that it is not good to be different in a place like this. Pyo asked Li Min if his pupils are bright red. Li Min told him that they are not. She told him that the red in his pupils are not very visible. Due to the fact that Pyo did not know that his pupils were red, Li Min realized that his pupils must have changed color while he was in this place. Pyo was very happy to hear that his unusual pupils were not visible. While he was thinking of what to do, Li Min asked him about what he is thinking of. Pyo told her that he is not thinking of anything big. Li Min told Pyo that he is different from the other kids when she heard his response. Pyo asked her about how he is different. With a smile on her face, Li Min told Pyo that all the children are confused about their situation, but Pyo is the only one thinking. Pyo was surprised to hear this. While they were talking, Yoel and Cheonwoo walked up to them. Yoel tells Pyo and Li Min that the other children have decided to stick together while they are in this place. She asked Pyo and Li Min about what they want to do. Pyo told her that he does not understand what she means. Yoel asked Pyo if he will join them. Pyo told her that they will have to wait and see. Yoel was surprised to hear this. She asked Pyo if he does not want to join them. Pyo told her that he simply wants to wait to see how things go. Yoel was sad to hear this. She told Pyo to come see her if he ever changes his mind. Yoel asked Li Min if she wants to join them. After thinking about it, Li Min said that she will join them. She said that sticking together is much more advantageous for survival than being alone. Yoel praises her for making a smart choice. Pyo believed that these children have been isolated in the dark for far too long. He was certain that there was no way that the children would be mentally sane. While Yoel and Li Min are talking, he decided to walk away. As he was walking away, he said that he will watch the other children from afar. Some time has passed since the children arrived in the huge mansion. The children formed several groups among themselves. The first group is led by Yoel and Cheonwoo. The second group is led by Kong Il. The third group is led by Yom Iljung, while the last group is led by Go Yongsan. The only child that did not join any group is Pyo. Rumors about Pyo had spread among the children. Some children believed that he killed everyone in his sector, while others believed that he was a crazy person who could not socialize. Pyo was not surprised by the fact that people were spreading fake rumors about him. He knew that people naturally like gossiping and spreading rumors. He had no interest in listening to people who were gossiping. Pyo decided to check the entire mansion again. He was certain that this mansion was just built recently. Due to the amount of moss he found in the cave, he became certain that this underground space was built a long time ago, and someone decided to reuse it recently, thanks to the scale of operation. He realized that the person who is making use of the cave is very wealthy because an average person cannot do something like this. While observing the cave, Peul sees a light shine from the ceiling. The other children gathered around the light. They noticed that a basket was descending from the ceiling. When the basket reached the ground, the children found food in it. They were very happy to see some good food after a long time. The children were about to eat the food, but they were stopped by someone's hand. This hand belongs to Yoel and Cheonwoo. The children got angry when they saw how Yoel and Cheonwoo stopped them from eating. They told Yoel and Cheonwoo to move away from the basket. Yoel suggested that the children should distribute the food fairly among themselves. Immediately she said this, Iljung stepped out to represent his group. Kong Il and Yongsan also came out to represent their groups. Yoel asked the representatives to distribute the food among their children. Before they could split the food among themselves, Peul came out to represent himself. He told them that he is going to take his share first. When Peul reached his hand into the basket to take his share, Iljung looked at him with disdain in his eyes. Iljung grabbed his hand and told him to not touch the food. He told Peul that no one can take food from the basket without their permission. He told Peul that everything in the basket will be under the control of the representatives. He pushed Peul's hand away from the basket. The other children were surprised to see this. Peul took a stance and put his hand into Iljung's eyes. The children were shocked to see this. Peul pinned Iljung to the ground and asked him to repeat what he said. With blood gushing from his eyes, Iljung began to scream in pain. While strangling Iljung, Peul asked him to repeat what he said again. The other children began to shout at Peul. They called him a crazy bastard and told him to let Iljung go. When Peul heard what they said, he tightened his grip on Iljung's eyes and neck. When the other children saw this, they realized that Peul is already insane. They became certain that Peul is gone completely mad. Yoel walked up to Peul and asked him to let Iljung go. Peul asked her to give him a reason for him to let Iljung go. Yoel told Peul that Iljung has probably understood his intentions now. Peul asked her about the food. Yoel assured him that no one will touch his share of the food. With fear on their faces, the other representatives also confirmed the new law. Upon hearing this, Peul released his hold on Iljung. After Peul set him free, we see that Peul only ruined Iljung's right eye. Iljung called Peul a crazy bastard. Peul told him to attack him if he wants his other eye removed. Iljung was annoyed to hear this. While eating, Peul contemplates on how the food given to them is a test. He believes that the test is given to them to filter out the useful children. Due to the fact that his kidnappers have been testing him since he arrived to the cave, he is certain that the kidnappers will continue to test him and the other children until they fulfill their goals. He is certain that many children will die in the process of this test. Since the other children were bound to be his enemies, he did not see a reason to be nice to them. A few days later, Yoel comes to greet Peul. She asked him how he is feeling now that he has made everyone his enemy. She revealed to him that after he disgraced Iljung, many children left his group. Peul told her that the children joined her group and made it the biggest among the 4 groups. Yoel was surprised to hear this. She realized that Peul has been watching her and the other children from afar. Peul told her that he is keeping a watch on the others just as they are keeping a watch on him. Yoel is a girl who eats the least after securing the most food for her group. Thanks to this, the other children were loyal to her. Peul is certain that she stands out the most among the leaders. Yoel asked Peul if he still stays in his dark room. She asked him if he stays there because the other children are wary of him. Peul told her that he stays in the dark room because it is comfortable. The real reason Peul stayed in his dark room was because he wanted to gain more poison resistance due to the fact that the snake bites are no longer painful. Peul realized that he is becoming more resistant to it. With a smile on her face, Yoel asked Peul to join her group. She told him that he should try to change his current situation. Peul did not answer her. While Yoel was pestering Peul, she realized that it was already mealtime. As the basket was descending, Kong Il told the other children to not try to get into the basket again if they don't want to fall to death after the kidnappers cut the rope. When the basket reached the ground, Kong Il and Cheon were shocked to see what was inside. The food in the basket was less than half of their usual amount. Yoel was shocked to see this. Peul stood up and realized that the test has begun. Guys, we have come to the end of our video. If you guys want part 2 of this video, let us know in the comments section. Don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button for more recaps. See you guys later.